All right, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are here for the first time, welcome in. We're going to be talking about PulseChain in this video. A few things to touch on, and this is the final stretch, right? We only have about an hour and 12 minutes left from the time of filming this video until we arrive on day 16, I believe, right? So let's go ahead and pull up the charts on LookIntoHex.com. We have our cost basis versus time that integrates both the time curve as well as the volume curve, right? This curve might be a little misleading because it's only the time curve and doesn't take into account volume, right? They are independent curves. But when you take them both into account, and right here we don't have a continuous set of examples, but rather it's, right, we went in leaps of 0.25. So it ranges from 1 to 2.5 in jumps of 0.25, which gives us more or less an idea of if you fall between these levels or on these levels, what does your cost basis per time look like in terms of dollars per point or points per dollars, however you want to look at it. So here's where we are now, and this is what's going to close in about an hour and 11 minutes. So we added this to the chart where we have these cool little hexagons that move along with time. And so this is going to tick over in about an hour, and your cost basis per 10,000 points is going to be, for the little guy, the red curve, $1.71. So for the little guy, and we'll get into what defines a little guy or a whale in a second with this cool new table, but the little guy is better off waiting until, let's see, until day 17, right? Because if you only have one bonus multiplier, meaning your stack is really small, right, then you're better off sacrificing day 17 to 19, right? Because your cost basis becomes much, much lower because everyone gets a flat rate. And this is what I was talking about over here, this table someone in the community made. You can find it at t.me/PulseChain.com. I'll leave the link to that Telegram group in the description below. 34,000 plus members, active, actual people. So this gives you an idea, this table, of what I'm trying to convey with this chart, but in a different way, which I really like. Because with this chart, it tells you, look, this is approximately, based on our calculations, or on their calculations, the required volume to achieve these volume multipliers. So as we know, the volume multiplier ranges from 1 to 2.5, and based off of pulselead.xyz info, I'm assuming they're using that, which is the leaderboard in terms of, you know, how many total sacrifices have been made and what amount at the time of sacrifice that was. So all you really have to do is export that data, order it, right, get a median based on how many sacrifices. You know, I think you have to sort by unique address, because if one address makes multiple sacrifices, I don't know how Pulse Lead XYZ guys aggregate that data, but assuming that's correct and assuming the math is correct, then you're looking at something like this, which says if you only threw in, let's say, less than $7,000, you'll only be getting about 1 to 1.1x on your coins. Whereas if you sacrifice between $7,000 and $20,000, you could be getting between a 1.1 and a 1.2x. So this kind of battle, this volume curve battle for this volume multiplier, ends in about 25 hours or so. After that point, you just get a flat rate on days 17 and 19. And that's what it shows here. You have this battle going on for the first 16 days, with the time curve being actually continuous up until the end. But these last 3 days, the volume curve changes to flat for everyone. It doesn't depend on the size of your sacrifice anymore, meaning these are the actual rates you get in terms of pulse per dollar value. So you get back to these levels again, right? 97.45 down to 88.39, which if you look at where these levels are achieved, it is at some window between day 6 and 16 for these different volume multipliers. So, for example, if you're a 1.7x multiplier guy, so you've put in about $500,000, $400,000, then on day 16 it looks like, what is this? 99.40. So that's when it becomes actually continuous, right? For the average guy, you get something like this green curve where for him it's continuous. And so this is interesting because this describes kind of the inverse of what I'm trying to get at. This 97.45, think of 10,000 over these numbers and you get these numbers: $1.03, $1.08, $1.13. This flat rate for everyone at the end. I hope that makes sense. If you're able to kind of consolidate your understanding of this model and this model, kind of put them together and get a visual idea maybe of this data, or get a table idea of the data I presented. So I'm glad there are people working on this kind of stuff and sharing it, right? Because this is really cool. It gives you an idea of what your volume multiplier is. So say you look at this and you're like, oh yeah, definitely I put in, I don't know, let's say you're down here somewhere. Let's just, for the sake of example, let's say someone put in $10,000, then you're probably sitting at about a 1.15x multiplier. So in that case, you would look at this and say, oh, I'm between red and orange, so somewhere along here, right? Your curve would be. And you could approximate with either one, seeing how you had a better deal back here, right? Back here, before this curve started elevating, and then it's going to drop to be flat for everyone, but you would have been better off days 1 through 5, assuming stables, right? Assuming stable value. When you throw in an actual coin that you're trying to sacrifice that's also fluctuating in value, it gives you a way different chart. Maybe something like this for Hex, which so far it's looking like day 2 was the best so far. Best data sacrifice so far. It's what it's looking like. Now, can this change? Might we see a pump near the end? Maybe. I don't know, right? Who knows what's going to happen? We're at 12.3 cents right now. So this just continues to show that earlier was better. Earlier was simply better, right? Up to now, right? This can change. But it looks like you would have had your maximum hex per pulse rate on day 2, regardless of your volume. That was the local peak for everyone. And then it kind of just went down from there. So might you see people just panic sacrificing at the end? Maybe, because they want to get in. I don't know. Some people might just buy on market once it's live. That's cool too. And once mainnet is live, right, you can bridge over funds and just, if you didn't get in on sacrifice phase, it's not too late to get pulse. You just bridge over ETH on some ETH pulse bridge, or maybe another pair bridge, and then you have coins on that ecosystem. Or if you already have PRC20 or ERC20s and ETH, then you'll have stuff to play with in that ecosystem. And yeah, so you can do that, right? Once mainnet is actually live, you can just bridge over your funds and actually trade on the AMMs over there, which will be forks of Uniswap V2. So that's pretty much the case on this, right? You have an hour left, and then price increases up to this point. So if you are someone who is a whale, right, then this is actually important for you. For example, who are the guys who are getting these big multipliers? If you're a whale putting in anywhere from, let's just say $2.5 million to $30 million, then you are sitting between 2 and 2.5x, so between blue and pink. So for you guys, if you're watching, even for the green guys, right, even average. So let's actually amend that statement. If you're sacrificing anywhere between $500,000 to more, then now is probably better to sacrifice, assuming stable value, right? Because you're getting these rates, right? Between $500,000 to $30 million. These guys are getting these rates. And then as time is passing, it's just going to be more expensive for them. And since these guys are mega whales, right? Waiting until this point would just absolutely demolish the deal they had earlier, right? They'd be getting almost 2x less coins because they'd be treated as an average size person when they actually had advantage this whole time. So if you have an advantage by being a big whale, then earlier is better. If you have disadvantage by being a little guy, like, a lot of people, I'm sure, that are between, let's say, red and yellow, red and green, they actually have some incentive to, maybe wait until these last few days. Maybe there's a pump on their favorite coin. So there's there's logic as to why some people might preserve some capital and want to throw it in here. I can see the cases, right? But we'll see. I guess we'll just have to see. So that's what I wanted to cover in this video. Not much else. I tend to try to want to keep the hex and pulse videos separate just for SEO purposes and for focus of topic, and because there's obviously a lot to say, and that's kind of the advantage on the channel, honestly, in terms of being able to make these into digestible kind of snippets of different topics. So just that's probably why I don't consolidate everything into one video. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video, specifically in this video. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a thumbs up, all that good stuff. Leave your comments down below, and good luck. I'll see you in the next one.